What the hell is an acceleration chain? Well, it's an exercise that takes you from flying fast with jerky corrections and basically no flow and transforms your flying into smooth, intentional movements with flow oozing, absolutely oozing out of every movement of flight. Now, I want you to imagine that this cup here is representative of the perfect amount of flow and precision needed for a trick. To be able to nail that perfect amount, you just need to fill the cup to the very, very top, the brim, as fast as possible and without overfilling the cup. Now, there are two methods of doing this. The first is where you grab your jug of water and you just tip it upside down and start to pour rapidly and just... Yep, well, that's kind of what I expected to happen. You're likely to overshoot the amount of water needed significantly, and you're going to completely ruin your trick just by ruining your flow and your precision, right? We couldn't precisely get up to the top, and we spilled crap tons of water. The second method, however, if we just pretend like there's not water everywhere on the table, the second method is where we start off by pouring very slowly, right? We just start pouring just like this. Now, as we slowly are pouring, you can start to sort of judge exactly how much water you're going to be needing to get to the very top. Now, as we get to the top, we can slow it down even a little bit more. Keep on going. Boom. Now that there is the perfect level, the perfect fill in this cup. We've got it to the perfect line. By doing the second method, we've taken just a little bit of extra time to get a feel for just how much water that we need to fill our cup up. And in turn, we've managed to perfectly nail the flow and obviously our trick in this case. The next time that we do this, we can probably be a whole lot more confident, knowing that we've got a bit to go to get into the cup at first. So we can start off by going a little bit faster, and then we can again start to slow it down at the end and just make sure we're really nailing that trick. Boom, just like that. So the more that you fill the cup up and keep on repeating this process over and over, eventually you'll know the perfect amount of water needed to perfectly fill up this cup at the perfect speed as well. This is exactly like the equivalent of knowing just how much speed you can understand when doing a trick with your FPV drone. And by starting off slower than you probably want to, you can almost guarantee that at least you're going to be able to do the trick and it'll still be smooth and precise. The more times you do the same trick over and over, the more confidence that you're going to gain, and therefore the more speed that you can introduce. So if you keep tipping this bottle full speed, yeah, of course, you're going to keep overshooting and it's not going to be clean, it's not going to be repeatable. Precision comes from patience, and patience creates speed. A saying that I absolutely love to fly by is going slow makes you smooth, and being smooth makes you fast. So back to that understanding, here's the acceleration chain exercise. Alrighty, so to do the acceleration chain exercise, you first need to create each loop of the chain. Now, you're going to see what that means in a moment, but what I want you to do is find any form of environment that has some different elements in it. And you're going to have to pick what you're going to do with these elements based on your skill level. So if you're really, really unconfident, you can just pick really basic things, and you'll see what I mean. If you're slightly more advanced, you can up the ante by changing what things you do. So, starting off with just like a reasonably beginner-like challenge here. So, we've got this nice large structure here. I'm going to choose this here as a gap, okay? So, what I just did there, that little center point there, that is what I am calling my gap chain, okay? Now, if I pop over, see this pole here, this pole right here? I'm going to call this my orbit pole. So I'm going to orbit it, just like that, right? Not even cleanly, apparently. But I'm just going to orbit this pole. And this is my second chain. So a nice orbit all the way down. Okay. Then we've got this nice set of trees here with a little gap down the bottom by the looks. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to pop up and over, and then I'm going to split S it. And then hit the gap on the way down, right? So if that's too complicated, that one, that's fine. Find a different one there. Then let's pop on over here. We've got this nice long fence here. This here is going to be what I'm going to call the fence chain, or the fence chain link. All right, just like that. Beautiful. And maybe I'm going to use this pole here as just a turn point. So what I've just done is I've created a few different chain links. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to link them together. Think of it almost like a race course. So we've got trick number 1, which is hitting a gap. Then the next trick is down here at this pole, right? And this pole is our orbit pole. So now we're going to orbit this pole. And then we're thinking ahead now. Next up, we need to head on out over to this tree, perform a nice split S. So we're going to move ourselves up, do a nice split S. And again, the actual exercise, the actual thing you do isn't so much of the issue or the thing here. It's just linking things. We've now got our fence line, which again, I want to be nice and close to and not hitting. We're coming up to our pole, so I'm trying to think ahead. Boom, around our pole, and then I'm just going to link back and do the same thing again. So what we're doing here is we're officially making a little racetrack of tricks, basically. So we're not hitting specific gates, but we are going to certain obstacles and performing certain tricks or certain rotations or whatever you want. So after this again, we're back on over to our tree here, going for another split S here. And we're taking this as slow as we need. So if you find that straight away, this here is way too difficult, you need to do what we've talked about earlier and bring your tilt down. So I could take it down to 5% here, right? And that means to move forward, I have to really freaking tilt my drone. But we could go super, super slow. This whole thing, we're gonna go through this point here. Okay, nice, we hit a gap. Then I'm going to link myself over to my next secondary trick here, which is a completely different trick. We're going to do an orbit. Okay, nice orbit here, and you can see I'm going super, super slow, and this is great. My next trick is to head on over to this tree up here, and I'm preparing to go and do a nice split S. So we're going to pop on over, split S ourselves down, catch ourselves at the bottom, and then continue on through. And then by doing this, we're now heading to our fence, and look, we're still going pretty damn slow. I'm going to travel along my fence line here and just keep on moving forward. And then I'm thinking about that pole again. I'm going to circle the pole and restart my loop. Now, the reason that this is super important to do slow at first is because what we're trying to do here is we're trying to make something happen called smoothness. We're trying to be smooth. So if you were to just, I'm going to demonstrate this, if you were to have a high tilt and be out of control in terms of what your skill levels are, and you're coming in here, you're going over here, and then you're going down to this next one, and you're just kind of freaking out about it and going around it like this, big old loops, right? You're like, okay, yeah, great, I did an orbit then you're going up to this, and you're going, okay, great, big split S, completely overshoot it, pull yourself down, okay, we're gonna go through the tree, oh my goodness, we missed the tree, right? If you're doing this sort of flying, it's very difficult. Yes, you might actually physically complete this loop quicker, right? That was a quicker loop, a quicker track than before. But there's no way you're going to be able to speed it up after that. If, however, you take over time and you build up on a slower input, right? So a slower camera tilt. If you build up the actual line that you want to take and the technique it takes to, go nice and close to an object and orbit it really smoothly and then pop yourself up and over and prepare for a nice split S instead of freaking out about it and actually managing to loop it perfectly, then over time you can now increase your speed with time and perform the exact same track, if you will, but with the same level of smoothness as before. I'm trying to get used to the tilt here. With the same level of smoothness, but at higher speeds. And this just allows you to be able to basically know that you've got the correct line picked out, but now you can introduce a speed because you're actually capable of it. So it's all about building up that smoothness and building up the ability to know what you're actually capable of over time. I mean, this is probably too fast for me for this track right now. I should really be down at 20. It's just all about building up that smooth flow between your obstacles and not really kind of doing a singular trick like this and then being like, okay, where are we off to next? Where are we going next? And then, oh, we're going to go to this tree. Like, yeah, let's go do a tree. And then freaking tricks over that and crap. You want to link things together and keep it smooth. So smooth, slow is smooth, and smooth is fast. That is just golden advice right there. Just to recap as well, you can pick as many or as little chain links as you like. I recommend at least 3, but around 5 is pretty good. And then you just got to find a way to link up each obstacle or each feature or each trick. Find a way to link them. And that link you're going to do nice and slow, nice and smooth between, and you're going to transition into each maneuver really smoothly. And do it slow, because slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Beautiful. So you've now capped your throttle to gain clarity, you've learned to link moves smoothly, and you've got a tool to increase your speed at the perfect level. If you apply everything here, not only will you fly faster, but you'll also do it with full control. And the more control you feel, the more confidence you build, and the more confidence you have, the faster and smoother that you're gonna fly.